Whose horse is that?
Whose horse is that? Whose horse is that?
Bruh. Whose horse is that?
Hello and welcome to the Just Mates podcast, where we aim to destigmatise men not speaking up about mental health. Remember to follow our social pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Just Mates Pod. You can listen to and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor and Apple Podcast. All links are provided in the description. In today's episode, we discuss a massive roundup of all the episodes we've done so far. Big up 20 episodes, Sam.
Yeah, it's so this is a milestone, mate. 20 weeks if you think about it.
Yep, every Friday, 20 weeks. And I was just saying to you prior to this that initially we thought, I thought that after a couple of episodes we'll be consistent, but it will fall down a bit, like we'll get busy and stuff. But we've literally stuck at it every single week, not missed one Friday.
Yeah, man, and it's been good. I mean, I know I started my new job like last week, but still, it's only an hour out of our day to record or set things up, and I suppose you got the hard job, didn't you? You always have the editing.
Yeah, it's just a bit of background, for that, just so the listeners know, we have to come up with artwork together. We agree on the episode name. We do research, even if it's off the bat, we're still doing research. And then there's a lot more production time that goes into it than just recording for the hour. Yeah,
production time, you handle that like a boss. And then
description wise, Sam, I literally can't fault anything, and just generally, I don't think I could have done this without you.
No, mate, well, I clearly couldn't have done it without you. I'd be an idiot. I literally couldn't do it. I'd probably be able to do the audio recording, but nothing like you can do with the creatives, mate.
Well, we're teamwork, innit, really? But I think, initially, even in these past few months, we've just got a lot closer as friends as well, and it's just a core foundation for us now. We can just link the podcast to us, and it's just it's quite overwhelming at times when I think about it.
Yeah, mate. Well, I'm just looking through all the videos that we've done now, and it genuinely brings a tear to my eye that we've been so consistent.
Yeah,
being able to do this,
and not to be cringy or anything, but my mum listens to every single episode.
Oh right, okay.
And every week she'll mention to me, "Oh, what have you?" Or she'll ask, "What have you done it on this week? What have you done it on this week?" And she'll be she'll talk me through the episodes, and that kind of makes me emotional because she's now understanding what we're going through.
Mate, that's literally that's actually made me cry.
And it's she's now understanding. Well, she did anyway because we have that relationship, but she shares it with her sisters and brothers, my uncles and aunties, and even if it's amongst our family, that's still one listener that's more understanding.
Mate, that's so beautiful. It actually got me crying.
It's just, I think that's kind of the premise of what we wanted, really. We wanted people to be a bit more compassionate and kind of, understand that what we're doing is not just to help others, but it's stuff we've been through. And we say this week in, week out. It's stuff we're relating to. And it is so easy to get into that mindset of being stuck in a bubble of self-pity.
Yeah.
And even listening back to all the podcasts we've done, I tend to listen back to little portions, and it just shows me that all the advice we give to other people, we need to take it ourselves.
Yeah, and that's so true, mate. That's really true. Are we looking? So today the plan is we're going to look through pretty much and give a generalized view or summary of all the episodes that we've done. But I think I just want to start it off really, mate. Over the past 20 weeks, do you feel like you've gotten better since we started doing it? Because I think when we started doing it, I don't know, I was in a kind of a bad place, and so were you. And then it's kind of been a roller coaster. But it's I guess the question is how are you doing?
I can't lie. It's been a rough few months. Even now, there's no I can't say to you that I've woken up and I'm 10 times better now and I'm not going to be sad anymore. But obviously, due to like Corona has literally hindered my progress completely. And doing these podcasts has kind of given me a purpose, and doing like the little things that I do on the side, like gym, and like I'm doing this poster challenge and stuff. It's just given me, so basically, because I've not been working, just to listen to know, I was furloughed for the whole time, and sadly this month I was made redundant and I'm now on the hunt for a job. I never thought that at this age and in my lifetime that I'd ever be in this position.
Yeah.
And you've been there for me. You've been supporting me, like trying to help me and stuff. And I've got people around me like that have been there for me. But I can't lie that it's not been a struggle. Some days I wake up so demotivated, and then some nights I'll go to bed and I'm literally applying to jobs like at midnight. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no balance.
Yeah.
How about you? How you been doing?
Kind of the same, really, mate. My whole world just kind of got tipped upside down, really, and the whole not because of the pod, for God's sake, because the pod has been a really like a big help to me. But like during the past 20 weeks, like my world has just been flipped. So, I mean, some for the better, some for the worse, but I think that maintaining this structure and having just a mate to talk to and a little project has really, really helped me, to be honest. I don't know where I'd be without this.
Yeah, it's a form of therapy, and we always bang on about routine, and this has been our routine for 20 weeks. So even if all else shit fails, we know that we've got to on Sunday record, or on Monday record, or on Wednesday I've got to edit. That's my form of therapy at the moment.
Yeah, and that's beautiful.
Really. And yeah, no, it's just it still is overwhelming that what we're doing has potentially saved lives.
Yeah, well, I think so, mate. Well, the same with you. I've had a couple of friends that have listened to it and they really enjoyed it and stuff. I mean, the best part for me was getting like guests on and actually learning from people. So
yeah, it's stuff that I didn't think would happen. I thought that it would kind of just be in our heads that we'd get someone on, and then it wouldn't happen, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but I think out of all of them, my favourite has been your Uncle Simon.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've loved every guest that we've had on here, but that was so insightful for me because I don't drink. And just so the listeners know, Simon's Sam's uncle, and he went through a period of alcohol abuse, amongst other things. And obviously, I wouldn't know anything about that really. I'm just on the outside, but that made me feel quite emotional listening to his story.
Yeah, and it always does when he brings it up, mate. I mean, he went through a lot, bless him, and he's still. I think he was kind of saying like you're never cured of it. It's just like a daily struggle sort of thing. And you'll hear most people that have substance abuse problems say the same thing. Yeah, sorry, my throat's really bad at the moment. And just in case the listeners don't know, I'm actually ill at the moment.
And it's not Corona.
And it's not Corona. Thank God. I hope. Dies instantly.
So, episode 21, Sam's no longer with us.
Yeah, we get Boris coming out. Bloody rapscallion! Yeah.
But, just generally, like, if any of you listeners have a story that you want to share with us and you think that it's a topic that we should be highlighting a bit more, then just feel free to just contact us, really. I mean, I know we've restricted it to kind of men, but even if any girls, women, whatever, have any stories of males in their life that they've helped or they've had experiences with that could help others, we feel free to just message us and we'll get you on.
And I need to. I think we do need to going forward when we can and we do get the time, because obviously I'm in a new job now. It's quite stressful. I'm doing a lot of work, and you will eventually be in a stressful position as well. I think like having planned ahead a couple of people to come on would be quite great. It's like yeah, you and me talking at the weekend is fantastic, but like if we've got another person to look forward to and learn from, like that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all it is. Literally as you said before, every lesson, every episode we do, we're learning. And even today, like just the general, like, how are you doing, and actually answering the how are you doing rather than just saying, yeah, I'm good, thanks, you. We're still trying to, we're trying to get to know like what's going on in each other's heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and I think we said this, when I rang you yesterday, we was just saying like we've come a long way since the start, and it like we genuinely have changed as people.
Yeah, I think so. If you listen to even how we talk, mate, I think, to be honest, like,
yeah,
if you listen to episode 1 or 2 in comparison to how we actually talk on this thing now, I think we sound different.
I think so. Do you know what? I think I've actually just got used to the sound of my own voice.
Maybe. Could be telling shit here, but yeah, you're probably.
But okay, well, let's do what the plan was, which was what we're going to do. And as Sam said before, we're going to do like a little rundown of the all the episodes we've done so far. So we're gonna have bloody hell, this is a blast to the past. Episode 1 was on lockdown.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we just spoke about that lockdown. Yeah, do you remember those days?
Do you remember when everyone was clapping for the NHS, and now instead of giving the NHS more money, they are increasing the pay of the MPs? Yep, Boris.
Calm, Sam, calm. Yeah, I do. It's what am I going to say? Lockdown. Do you remember? Yeah, remember that period where the only time that we kind of went outside was for exercise
or shopping. Yeah.
Or shop.
Even shopping was a bit of a. I remember going to Tesco, like the big Tesco, and queuing outside half an hour, 45 minutes or longer.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I think, to be honest, like the first month, it probably sounds really bad, but there was like an element of fun to it.
Oh yeah, because it was all new. Yeah. Like it was all different.
Yeah. It probably sounds quite sinister, but yeah, like the first month, it was like, oh, this is new, this is great. I needed a break from work. 6 months later.
And then now look, we're in a depressive hole, and we're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I think I made like a design recently about how we're living in a dystopian world now, and is this just our new normal? Like going forward, like even at the gyms, like we have to wipe down all the equipment, and it just got me thinking: should we not have been doing all of these extra hygienic measures that we're taking now? Should we not have been doing these before anyway?
Yeah, I wash my hands a lot more anyway. Like
yeah. I can't lie, I do as well. Of course I do.
So, like, one of the main things as well as I notice is, coronavirus is only one virus, right? There's loads of bacteria problems, and there's loads of other viruses. This is just one, really. Like, you go shopping, everything you touch is like, that could have that on it, that could have that on it. And it really puts an idea in your head about, I could actually catch something from this basket. You just don't know. Now I'm a lot more cleanly. That type of stuff. Do you reckon there'll be another lockdown?
Do you know what? I don't think I could handle it. No, mentally.
I don't. I really don't.
I especially as one of our last episodes was about sad. This is the worst time for that to happen, especially with all the festivity as well, like Christmas and stuff. It's just not going to be and obviously I don't celebrate Christmas, but there's still that element of like family get together and just like that just being together and stuff. Not having that is going to be a bit of a killer for me. And even recently, like I've not been going out as much, like I've not really seen many people. I think I've literally I've kind of made my own little social bubble of like 3 people that I see.
Yeah.
And they're the only people that I do see.
Yeah.
If I was to not be able to see them, it's going to be. I'm going to take 10 steps back.
Yeah, it's
worrying, but we know we can't change what's going to happen, so we just got to not plan, but just take it as it comes, really.
I don't think that the economy can. I'm not going to get political here, but I don't think the economy can sustain another lockdown.
No, they're just going to let people die.
Yeah, that sounded like a news announcement. They're just going to let people die.
I think that is kind of the only way that it's going to work.
In it, you will turn on the news in 5 minutes, but good evening, paedophiles.
Okay. Oh God, the only people safe are the people in jail.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, but it's true. But yeah, no. So that was episode 1, isn't it? So lockdown.
Yeah.
This could go on for a while. Episode 2 was about military, and having Dom on. Do you know what? I even think back to, I can remember everything that he said, and that was one of my favourite episodes as well.
Yeah, it was a long one, but it needed to be. Like the amount of stuff that he described at the military, like they provide you with and they help you with mental health, and the whole camaraderie.
Yeah.
What you said? Yeah, that was really cool.
And just even then with military, when we were talking to Dom, he was telling us about like they had COVID stations as well. And just generally how they had like precautions ready and stuff, and just the whole thing about how much, like, there's always that negative connotation with military, and we discussed this in the episode about how like people think that you just like shooting people and stuff like this, and even if it's like country against country, some countries are going to be against the English army, some against the African army, you know what I mean? Like there's so many like things that are controversial regarding the military, but that wasn't the premise of the episode. It was just to get an insight of his mindset.
Yeah, and that was I really enjoyed that one. I always love talking to Dom. He's a bundle of joy. He's amazing. But like, he was even saying to me in some aspects of that episode that I had no clue about, and I've known him since I was like 5. And we're quite close knit. But he was, he's. I spoke to him recently, and Dom, I hope you don't mind me saying this, mate. If you're actually listening, Dom's actually got a child on the way.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, in I think he said May or something, and I'm going to be the godfather.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Jeez,
yeah.
Well done, Sam. That's brilliant. That's great news.
And I'll have an Italian suit. And,
shout out to Dom then. Really, I hope it all goes well. And that's great news.
Yeah, Dom's brilliant with kids, and he's just an all-round fantastic guy. I couldn't think of another person to be a great father. To be honest, he's amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? On the flip side of this as well, like a lot of military personnel will come out of the army, RAF, or whatever they've been in, and they will have PTSD. They will struggle to adapt to real life, and it just goes to show that he's a positive role model from it.
Yeah, and I was thinking, if he was in the army, would that cause an issue for him not being able to see his kid and stuff? But I don't know how long Dom's going to stay in there, but I always promised him that I'd look after him when he comes out. So he's fine. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, and he's got his support system, even in the army, that we've now know that there's a massive support system there and stuff. So yeah, it's good to know, really, and I'm happy for you, Dom. So yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Pick up Domsy. Right. Episode 3, Karma, mate.
Mate, this one is referred to all the time to me by my mum.
Okay, yeah. Like what aspect?
She just. I was actually talking to her yesterday. I was like, "Mum, what's your favourite episode?" And she was like, Karma. I love that one. And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, and her outlook on it was the fact that what we said, whatever you put out in the world, you get back, and not to expect anything by doing something.
Yes.
And it just goes to show that a lot of people have the same mindset.
Yeah, and it's a great mantra to kind of have, really. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, it's kind of become a meme in my house, really, with my mum. Like, anytime we do something or she says something and something drops or something, she'll always be like karma, but not referencing karma, referencing the episode.
Yeah,
It's quite funny, really. But yeah, no, that one hits home, really, because it just goes to show, even like what we're doing now, it just goes to show that putting good out in the world has such a positive effect.
Yeah, it's what you invest is what you get in return.
Yeah.
You know? Whether that's time, money, resources, like whatever you put in, good or bad, is going to come back in full swing. I think that's what I said in the episode. And yeah, I've been trying to follow that as well. So just being, not more polite, but just like actually listening to people.
Yeah.
One of the main outcomes with it, because admittedly I did this thing where I would talk to people and I would just wait to get my sentence in there, and I picked up on it as well. It's like I'm actually not caring what the other person is saying.
It's subconscious, isn't it? You don't realize.
It's just egotistical, really. And then when I kind of picked up on it, I was like, oh, well, maybe this person knows something that I don't, so I'm going to listen more. And I think that whole karma episode really shifted that.
Yeah. Do you know what I've noticed? Even just taking 5 seconds to just actually engage with what someone's saying, it can just change everything.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And like it shows more than anything that you care, and that person,
of course, and that way that person will then come back to you because they know they can rely on you and that you're actually listening and offering guidance, really, and vice versa, really. Like, I know that whenever I talk to you, you listen.
Yes, mate.
So I mean, well, I hope you do anyway, Sam.
What was that?
But no, it's just it's good to know, really. So that was karma. This next one, Sam, I always get sad thinking of it. This wasn't even going to be the topic of our podcast for number 4. It was purpose. That's what it's called. We were going to do something completely different, and then a devastating incident happened. Sam.
Yeah, so if I just lead on from this one, mate. So if you guys listen back to that actual podcast, I was in an absolute state, and you can really hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
Basically, at that time, I had a friend that I played football with a couple of years ago, and he sadly took his life. There was no indication, no nothing. I just had no idea. I only got notified from the club. And I've obviously joined a new American football club now. I would be going to training today, but obviously I'm a bit ill. He played for this club that I'm at now. So when I joined and I spoke to the guys, they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about Greg." And I was just like, "What?" Like,
yeah,
you know. But anyway, the whole premise of that episode was, suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 45. And this is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Podcast is just raise awareness because it needs to be tackled.
And that was literally the most impromptu subject for the podcast that we've done, weren't it?
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, and unfortunately, Greg is just one of thousands and millions of people that have done this to themselves. And no matter what people think, that it's a form of weakness, that you're a coward, you're this, you're that, you really do not understand what someone must be going through to even consider the fact that I know that this is going to affect other people, but I just cannot take this anymore. And to be having them whirlwind of emotions and thinking that taking your own life is the only solution, that's not cowardly. That is literally just, that is an illness.
Yeah, and it does because I've been in that state of mind before where, I've contemplated it, and there have been times when I was younger that I have kind of sort of attempted and self-harm and stuff. Like when you're in a depressed mind state, you do not give a absolute shit. You just, I can't explain it, but it's like I could sit in front of a car and I would not give a shit. Like it's so when people say you're depressed, like they think you're sad. It's like you're not. You don't feel anything.
It's numbness,
like
isn't it?
Yeah, your whole perspective on the world just shifts, and it feels like you've got this black cloud lingering over you. The resolution of everything, like in the world, is dim. Everything is pointless. I'm not in that statement now, thank God. But when it does come, I know what to do to kind of in essence get rid of my triggers.
And that's what we always discuss in it, like our triggers. And even during these podcasts, I've like noticed what my triggers are, and you know what, I've even noticed what yours are. And just like after we record the pods, we usually have a phone call and before as well, and we always talk about what we've just spoken about. And even amongst them phone calls, I learn more about you and what, because you'll be like, oh, this part of the pod shocked me, or this or that, and I'll just learn that that's your mind.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? Like it's just it's basically there's a way out, really.
Yeah, and there's a resolution to everything, really. But when you're in that depressed mind state, I think the best thing to know is it's temporary.
Yeah.
And however you're feeling is temporary. So, but suicide is forever.
Yeah.
That's what is it? So it's a it's a something solution to a long. Wait, is it a long-term solution to a short-term problem?
Yeah,
that's it. And it's never the way out. But honestly, if you're feeling like that, or you're gonna feel like you're self-harm or you're depressed, just reach out to a mate. Like fuck it, like reach out to us. Like we'll be happy to speak to you guys.
Yeah. We don't have to know you personally, and I mean that's the whole point of this, is we are literally just we're two guys talking, and we're trying to offer our personal experiences as stories for you to relate to. And if there's anything that has triggered your mind and you think that, oh, you want to ask more about this, or you want to tell us that you feel the same way, just reach out to us, drop us a message at Just Mates Pod on all of our socials, and just tell us how you feel, and we'll happily give you the time of day.
The best medicine I find is speaking to someone.
Yeah. And even since the start of this podcast, I've spoken to you more than I probably would have even considered talking about anything before. Like I just wouldn't talk to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, like, screw it. People can do exactly what we're doing in any capacity, so they could start their own pod. Like, I think this act of you and me talking and like having a routine, it's so fundamental.
Yes, it is. And even if we're not speaking during the week, we know that at least once a week we are talking, having a catch up. And even these podcasts, even though we have like a plan for it, like the topic wise, we're still generally talking like this. We've not written a script for this. We are genuinely talking off the bat, and we're just telling each other how we feel at the moment.
Yeah, and we kind of got I wouldn't say criticized, but like we had a bit of feedback saying that, oh, you should cut out all the. Do you remember that? It was like cut out all the bits that are kind of wrong and stuff. It's like, no, I want it. I want it.
We want it to be as authentic as possible, and that is the whole point of this. This is literally just mates talking. We're literally just having a conversation. That's all it is. And if we can help one person, then so be it.
Yeah, man, definitely. Right, moving on, mate. University, do you want to take this?
Yeah, so uni, we talked about pre, during and post, didn't we? We talked about the whirlwind of emotions of prepping yourself to be ready to go uni if you think that uni is an option for you, enjoying your experiences while you're there. We even talked about working during as well, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's all important. I'm having dreams at the moment, right, of going back to uni. It's really, I don't want to at all, but like I'm having dreams of going to a specific uni, and it's like, why? Yeah, so I suppose it's kind of like, you ever have those dreams where you're like late for school?
Yeah, do you know what that's also linked to? Because uni is obviously education, and you know, in your new job at the moment, you're doing your specific training and you're learning. It's going to be linked to that because you're educating yourself.
Yeah, it might be, to be honest.
But no, yeah, that's strange.
Do you ever get like this is a little bit off topic, but do you ever get the necessity, like the feeling of wanting to go back to do a master's?
No.
Not at all.
No, I was talking to someone about this before, and I was like, I am so glad that I'm done with education. I just couldn't hack it any more education, I don't think.
Yeah. I think the only time I'm going to go back is to do an executive MBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm done. Like with other, like I think MBA is kind of going to be the icing on the cake, but that's probably about 5 or 10 years time.
Yeah.
You need managerial experience. I think typically about 2 to 5 years.
Yeah. That's good. So at least you've got like a 5-year plan kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's really good because it's, say if I'm in marketing, I mean this probably won't be the case, but it could be the case for other people in business, and it could be the same for you. So let's say talk me through. So what was your job title at Acuity? So it was junior designer.
Yeah, it was originally junior graphic designer, and then it was turned into creative developer.
Yeah, okay. And then what would be the next, like in another agency?
For me, ideally, if you're listening, I am a midweight designer. Okay,
midweight. And then what's above that?
I think it goes to then senior, and then it can be like creative director, design director, digital lead, creative. There's so many avenues.
Yeah. So like so imagine you were like a senior and you get to manage junior sort of thing, right? So in my experience, I'd probably go from performance executive to senior performance executive to manager.
Okay. So, yeah.
And if I went to when I go to like manager eventually, if I had an MBA, it would help me get the director level role sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's kind of that leap of
just ranking you up, isn't it?
Yeah, that an MBA is it gives you all rounded business knowledge and managerial. It's less heavily academic and science based and more practical. And that's kind of where I was.
That's really good, mate. That's really good.
But they're quite good, but they're bloody expensive. But
by that time, a course is going to be about 45 grand per year.
Oh, don't even like. I don't want to slate LSE, but it's like 70 grand at LSE.
Is it actually?
I'm not even. Yeah, 60, 70 grand.
Jesus.
For 1 year. I'm not even kidding. And then I think, I don't want to slate Bath at all, but I think it's about 40 grand. And the one I'm looking at, which is the one that Simon went to for his MBA, I think is about 14 grand.
Blimey.
So, yeah, I was just like, well, there's a bit of a no-brainer, really. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the one Simon did.
Yeah, of course. And then at least you know a bit more about it.
Yeah, anyway, so... we've massively deferred a little bit from the topic, but university, like the time period before you join uni is quite nerve-wracking, especially if you don't really know what you want to do, like the uncertainty of a new environment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people go in with the mindset that this is going to be like Freshers Week and all of this and all of that, and they'll be like, they'll know it's a lot of work, but then in the back of their mind they're thinking this is kind of like a social aspect for me. And sometimes it can be the complete opposite. You'll be run down with work, you'll have so much work to do, and you'll feel like you're missing out. But there's just different ways of coping through uni.
Yeah, very true. And during university as well is it's just a bundle of emotions.
Stress.
Yeah, it's a mixture of stress and fun, and I can't even articulate how I felt during university, but it was totally different to how I feel now.
It was overwhelming for me because during uni I went from, because I used to go into uni most days. I used to go to the LRC, the library, and do my work and do whatever. And because I commuted, didn't I? So I didn't stay out there, and I still made sure that I went most days. And from going from 3 years of doing that, late nights at the LRC, doing work, seeing friends literally nearly every single day, to nothing at all, which was after, that was a massive shock to me.
Yeah,
like a big social shock.
Your uni's sick, mate. It's really modern, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was a good uni, and do you know what? I can't slate it because it's got me to the knowledge that I have today. Whether the uni taught me all of that or not, I still left uni wanting to learn more and doing more, and everything I've learned since is obviously because I actually had the ability to go to uni and do what I love, really.
I think uni makes you you come into it a bit more. I came into uni very open-minded, and it's made me a lot more critical. It's like analysis. I don't know if that's kind of the same with you, but when I'm doing write-ups now, like, I'm very detail-orientated.
I feel like so I helped someone write an email recently, and I just reworded a few little things, and I felt quite articulate.
Yes.
Because I think it was just because I felt mature enough to change certain words, and just my whole mindset. Like, I feel like I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, well, you just I definitely write a lot different to how I did when I finished uni, but prior to that, I feel like when you look over my write-ups before I joined uni, it's completely different.
Yeah. Just go look at the descriptions. Like, for example, all of these descriptions we do for the pods, which you do, sorry, that's all you.
Yeah, man. Well, I think if you're going to go to uni for something like it, if anything, you don't know what to do, but you definitely want to go. Like, well, uni will make you a lot more detail orientated if you're really focused.
Exactly, and however long the course is, 3 to 5 years. If you don't go to uni, you'll be 3 to 5 years ahead in life and not know what you could have learned at uni. So it's a benefit either way.
Yeah, and I think going on to the subject of coming out of university, I can't imagine what people feel like finishing uni this year. Like,
it's not even uni, really, is it? It's just like a massive Zoom call.
Oh, bless them, man.
Honestly, I've had so many. I've spoken to quite a few people, and every single one of them has pretty much said to me like there's no like real connection to the course.
Yeah, there's nothing like it's
because their lectures are just some now they've I think they're initiating the fact that the lectures, they were initially on Zoom live, and the lecturers would be doing whatever they do, but now they're pre-recorded, so you can't even ask questions.
Yeah. That's so bad.
It's not the same, and you're paying 9,250 a year to look at a screen.
It's so bad. Like, if I was a first year now, like if I would have gone to uni in September, I probably would have deferred for a year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have done that, and I'm assuming the funding for a lot of unis has gone down as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. You can't charge $9,000 for a Zoom call.
But they're still doing that, and people have like obviously moved out as well, gone to different cities, and then realised that all their courses online.
Yeah, that's just so bad. Anyway, should we just move a little bit?
Yeah. So side effects. This was
episode 6. Yeah,
episode 6.
So this is for side effects of mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. Did you just fart?
No, my chair. That's my chair.
That's a side effect. Naf gaffing all the time.
No, it was my chair. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Side effects. Sam, you were saying.
Yeah, so detection of side effects. So this is just like the warning signs of and creating awareness of the side effects of depression and anxiety. So I think we listed panic attacks, sweating, disassociation are the main ones that we picked up on.
Yeah. And then we listed like forms of therapy as such, of ways to like overcome these feelings as well. Like going for a walk, writing in a journal, listening to music, controlling your breathing, that kind of thing. There's so many things that you can do which will take like 5 seconds and it will just help you.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, one sec.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, it is. So if you go on to our Instagram, Naf's done some beautiful illustrations of on our stories highlights, haven't you, Naf, of ways to stop a panic attack?
Yeah, it's just a quick go-to for people to refer to, and it's helped me as well.
Yeah, and I found that I had a panic attack. I can't remember, at some point in the last 6 months I've had one or two, and I went on to that, and it's really helped, and with anger as well. That anger one is thick.
It's just like a couple of encouraging words and motivating words will just, like I said, it's going to trigger you to think of something positive.
Yeah, that's true. Dissociation, next one.
Dissociation, right? That was like the feeling of not really associating yourself with what's happening and disengaging.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's sorry.
Yeah, no, I said that's right.
Yeah, and I think I've experienced this quite a lot recently, especially with obviously the work situation and not feeling like I'm a part of anything.
Yes,
but there's ways out of it, like just literally simply ensuring you get up and make your morning coffee or tea or whatever it is that can get you back into the reality of things, like I'm doing something. Yeah,
and this is like quite a good way to kind of look at disassociation. It's your mind trying to protect itself, and you kind of pick up those habits and routines as a kid, and I did. I don't experience disassociation as much as I used to, but it normally happens when I'm under extreme stress or I'm really depressed. So there's two strains of dissociation. So there's depersonalization, which occurs when you feel disconnected from your body, and derealization, however you want to say it, which makes you feel disconnected from the world around you. So it's your body versus the world, and that's quite.
That's the latter is what I've felt whenever I felt dissociation.
Yeah, and I felt both pretty much at the same time. It's a really weird experience if you haven't gone through it. And at many points you might not even know you're experiencing it yourself.
I
know I didn't. I thought it was just the norm, and maybe I was tired. And it's not. It's and when you experience it, it's actually really scary.
It is. And I've had when that episode was released, I had quite a few actually people tell me that they didn't understand that back in the day that they were feeling this dissociation feeling.
Oh, right.
And then they came to me afterwards and realised I'm now thinking back to when my dad did this and my mum did this and I was feeling this kind of way and I didn't really feel anything and I was dissociating myself and disengaging myself, and they only after that episode realised that was what they were going through.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, so there was a couple of people that said that. So I think a lot of these topics, the names of them are triggers, and they just help you relate back to the feelings that you felt.
Yeah,
and realizing you've come out at the other end.
Yeah. That's interesting, mate. And did anybody get back to you about how to kind of ground yourself?
I think a lot. Well, the three people that mentioned it said that they didn't know what they were going through at the time.
Okay.
So they didn't know that they had to resolve anything because there wasn't an actual diagnosis for them. But now, if they were to ever go through them feelings, they would know what to do.
Do we have an illustration for dissociation?
What you mean, our artwork?
Yeah, so dissociation, what we got in here. So 5 ways to overcome dissociation. There's breathe, so breathing techniques, Wim Hof breathing, box breathing, write a journal, go for a walk, mindfulness, so meditation, support, speaking to people. That's it, and that's on our Instagram account if you want to have a look. Also, I had a period, right, of disassociation now, which I didn't tell you about, but it wasn't extreme at all, right?
Okay.
This is recently, and it just kicked in. When it kicked in, do you know what really helped me?
Go on.
It's really random, but get in the shower.
Yeah, do you know what? You said this to me, was it yesterday or the day before? You was like, I had 2 showers in one day, and it kind of helped you.
Yeah, well, that was more or less just for my my cold that I've got now, and because it kind of clears up the steam, clears up the system, you can cough all sorts of rubbish out. But like, if I'm feeling low, just getting in a warm shower, or cold for that matter, it helps sit in the shower for a bit, and you come out feeling a bit revitalized. I would say having a shower is really grounding, and like, if I don't know if you're anything like me, but when you're feeling down or depressed, the last thing you want to do is have a cold shower. But do it, like, make the pipes turn to ice, and you just feel completely different.
Yeah, I know, and it will just shake you out of any feeling or emotions.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. I love this episode. Toxicity, episode 8.
Yeah, and we related to this back to so many people that we know of, or this was quite an intriguing one.
Yeah, so we talked about conversational narcissists.
We talked about the different types of the 7 different types of toxic people that we've dealt with.
Yeah, and that's so true. I mean, there's a lot to go through in this, so I'll just read them off real quick. So conversational narcissist, the straitjacket, emotional moocher, the drama magnet, the JJ, which is the jealous, judgmental person, the fibber, the tank crushes everything in its wake. I won't go into all of those really here, but I think a concept that's going to kind of which feeds into all those different types of people is just stepping off the drama. Don't get involved with these people at all.
Yeah, just and actually, weirdly, dissociating yourself from this.
Yeah, and
from these type of people. Yeah.
Exactly. That's one of my favorite episodes, because it's just so funny how you can relate that to some people.
I know, and it's stuff that, and we also mentioned about some of these traits that people carry. They're subconscious. They don't know they are acting in these kind of ways, and sometimes it's just nice to just remind them that, look, mate, you need to calm down a little, or you need to understand this a little bit more, and just being there for someone and telling them that they're being a certain way could just help them.
Yeah, because if you don't say it, somebody else might not.
And if you don't say it in a nice, compassionate way, somebody else will say it and make them feel even worse.
Very true.
So that was a good episode. That was number 8. Number 9 was about pressure, societal pressure.
Yeah,
conforming to society.
Yeah, and internal pressures to kind of get this idea of perfect man, be the perfect person, and the whole social strain on that, and toxic masculinity, and we don't really think. I still don't think that's talked about enough. I mean, I'm not going to absolutely shit on the feminist movement, but young guys have the biggest suicide rate, I think, in the UK anyway. And why is this not talked about enough?
Yeah,
and toxic masculinity, being this perfect ideal person, is so damaging. I mean, I spoke to this person. I won't say what their name is, but their Instagram account was just full of fitness models, and was full of all these successful people. And it's just like they were saying, I just feel so bad. I'm just comparing myself. And it's like, at the end of the day, why are you doing that?
Yeah, no, I think the solution to this is inner happiness, really. And until you're happy with yourself, you could get a 6-pack, you could get all these muscles, you could have a massive house, have this and that. But until you're actually happy within yourself, none of that actually matters. And if you're doing it for other people, the outcome is just not going to be what you think it is.
I found yeah, that's very correct, mate. And I think I find happiness with just not comparing myself to people at all. Like, do not compare myself to people. The only situations that I kind of do realistically is if maybe I'm competing for a position in my work. Maybe
that's natural. You know what I mean? Maybe healthy, though, isn't it?
it's healthy competition and comparison. But whereas if you're comparing your entire life to someone that you only know at the face value through images and videos on social media, that's just
and do you know what, you've rounded that up really well. I think that the biggest takeaway for that is not to just take something away from someone from just face value. There is so much more depth to things that happen. Someone could be flaunting certain things and they could be depressed inside, or they could be flaunting like a Rolex watch, but actually they're struggling to keep up the payments. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so much more to it, and you could be aspiring to be that person with that Rolex watch, but not realizing that they're actually struggling to keep it.
Yeah, and if you looked at my social media, and maybe if your social media in cases, Naf, I think we post stuff.
Yeah, of course, and it's not about. Do you know what? Subconsciously, yes, it is about like getting attention, because why else would you post something? But really, I'm just doing it because I like what I'm posting.
Yeah, and there's that dopamine response when you get a comment, like, or something, you know. That's really damaging. I was I was reading this article and stuff, like, why is there no age restriction on social media?
I know, and do you know what? I think you mentioned this to me before about TikTok and how they've got a younger audience, obviously, which is apparent, and there's no like PG on there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's little girls doing these twerking stuff, and they're growing up thinking that that's normal.
Yeah, and that it's to me, mate. It's like it's almost as damaging as like alcohol. It's like if you have a bad day and you're a kid, what is the first thing you turn to?
To them, it's just social media.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Isn't that?
And do you know what? I'm so glad that you and I and a lot of our friends, obviously in our generation, went through an actual childhood of knocking for people, going out and like playing around and going to the parks and stuff. Nowadays, the point of call for every like little like 4 to 5 year old to 8 year olds and stuff is getting the iPad out.
Yeah, that's so sad. I'm sorry, but I mean, an iPad would have been cool as a kid. Like,
but we didn't know that. We didn't have that in our heads.
Yeah, exactly. I think when I have kids, I'm just going to definitely limit their time as much as I physically can. You know, go out, throw a couple of drinks, and then have fun.
I think it's so important just for generally, even as kids, you don't realise it, for people skills, for actually being able to communicate, you need to be away from a screen, like actual interaction with your friends, just being sociable. It can shift your whole mindset.
Very true.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next one, mate?
We kind of covered really with your Uncle Simon, talked about an in-depth lifestyle of what he went through, the therapy, the overcoming the addiction, and even still going through it now, really.
Yeah, the whole process and what you can do. He didn't really go into the 12 steps because I don't really think you're allowed to. I think there's some kind of unwritten rule, or maybe if it's even written when you sign up to AA. But yeah, really watch that one if you're struggling with substance abuse. It's really fascinating. We did have some audio problems during that one. I think it was because of connection, but still, nonetheless, like it's a really, really, really interesting.
It's very insightful, and I had quite a few people that listened to it and didn't just relate it to alcohol abuse. They kind of like like imagine there's a thesaurus there. They've just switched out alcoholism to another substance abuse and told me that they could relate it to that. So it's very that them guest ones have been really beneficial for me.
Yeah, me too, mate. And like I said, it's the same thing with Dom. Like I've known Simon all my life, and I didn't know some of the things that he was telling me, and I was shocked. And the whole process and what it took for him to go from, the becoming and like hitting rock bottom in a jail cell, that really hit home. It's so sad, and it's very true. If you do have substance abuse, or somebody with substance abuse, they have to hit rock bottom before they can climb to the top again.
The biggest thing is that your Uncle Simon is one of many that have been through it, but he's also one of thousands that have come out at the better end.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so many people are still struggling with it now, which is
and he's just a great example of someone that has been through it, but just literally tunneled their way through it and managed to see the positive light.
Yeah. Okay. Good point, mate.
Anger.
Next one.
So this one, I still feel these rage of emotions because of like the things going on, and I still get angry, but I think I've managed to come to a point where I can calm myself down a lot easier. I can de-stress myself, and even if within the hour I'm feeling that level of stress, I will be able to just step out and become less angry.
Yeah, pretty much a good summary of it, mate. And we do have some resolutions to if you experience anger. I don't really like calling it anger problems because everybody gets angry, right? But like, if you do experience at times some aspects of anger, we have a really great illustration which Naf again put together on our Instagram account, and it's important to transfer that energy into something positive and productive. So I know with me, I have a tendency to not flip the switch and get, don't go mad and shoot up places. Not that type of anger, but I do get frustrated, and when I do get angry, I transfer that energy into something positive. So whether it's work or working out, that's really useful. And I think
I do the exact same thing. I fuel that negativity into something a bit more positive that actually can benefit me. And you know what? I've also realised that when you're angry and you talk to someone and you don't talk to them about the issue you're angry about, you can find yourself just laughing and smiling because they're not trying to cheer you up. They're just being themselves, and they're making you forget about what you're angry about. Literally, laughter is the biggest cure.
And also, there was this important quote that I wrote down in the description that says, learn to make peace with your inner beast. So it's kind of this whole acceptance of, that's just a part of you, and then love it and accept it for who it is, and then you turn it into something positive. So if you have no teeth, you become too easily pushed around. So anger can be a useful resource if you do it morally correctly, obviously, and not punch people, but just turn it into something productive.
And also, just on the back of that, it is okay to be angry. Like it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Everyone feels these rage of emotions of despair and like just anger. And if you are feeling like that, it's okay to feel stressed. Let out a scream, let out a cry, let out this. Just do what you think is going to get rid of them emotions. Have an outlet, and find your source of therapy, and then once that anger's gone, just turn it into something more positive, like you said.
Nutrition, episode 12.
Okay, this one I actually, do you know what? I've been watching this random guy on TikTok, and he's a big guy, like massive guy, and I can't remember his username. I won't reference it, but he's joined Slimming World. So he's now he's what do you call it? He's been like Slimmer of the Week every week for the past few weeks and stuff, and lost loads of weight. He's still quite big now because he was big initially. And anyway, so he always responds to some comments. Nobody actually puts anything negative, which is quite good. And he responds, you know how people respond to comments and make a video about it on TikTok? One of them was not to be rude, have you always been large your whole life? And so do you know what really touched me on this video is this guy, like so genuine. He said he's always been large. So he was like, at 5 years old, I was 5 stone. And as I went older and older, I matched my age with my stone weight. And obviously that's quite drastic as well. He was like, at 10 years old, I was 10 stone. And that's a big weight to be at 10 years old. And he was just going, he said, I think his highest weight was 29 stone. So basically what he was saying is he knew what he was doing. He knew he was getting bigger.
Right.
But it wasn't because he just didn't care. That was his form of therapy was comfort food. And what he was saying is that a lot of people turn to drugs, a lot of people turn to alcohol, a lot of people turn to medication and abuse that. He just abused his diet and that was the way that he felt happy. And he said he didn't even realize what he was doing until he's got to this stage now where there was just one switch on one day where he's realized, I need to change. And I think it's just important we highlight that obesity, overeating, and even undereating, and bulimia and anorexia, they are forms of abuse.
Yeah, self-harm, really.
Sorry, I know that was quite detailed, but it just really got to me that people really judge you on face value.
Yeah, and they do, and I found when I'm, it's a gradual process whether when you lose weight or you gain weight. When I gained weight after uni, I didn't even notice I gained weight. Like, does that sound odd? Like, I didn't even, because it's such a gradual process. You're used to seeing your body every day. It was until such a point where I looked at a previous photo of myself and I was like, oh my God, I've actually put on some weight.
And like, wait, understand. It's that process as well. And you don't actually process how you're looking until you see one little thing that reminds you of what you were before and now.
Yeah. And that's demoralizing, but yeah, the nutrition is a really, really good episode if you want to look at prevention, development, and management of your mental health problems, and know what to kind of put in your body. We've got some articles in there.
Links in
yeah, pretty much.
Next
so that's
one,
nutrition.
13, self-harm. This was quite a sensitive one again. When it's
Yeah, do you want to take this one?
We had, fortunately, we were able to get Ben from my gym. He's one of my friends, and he discussed his personal experiences with self-harm. And I think that it was a massive shocker to a lot of listeners locally, to me anyway, because they know Ben. Ben's quite well known, and he's a PT, and he just discussed the emotions that he was going through when he self-harmed as a child, and what he's done recently, and the last time that he'd done it, and what was kind of going through his head when he done it. And I think you related to a lot of the things that he said as well.
Yeah, I did. Really sad one, mate.
But it just goes to show that things like that are happening.
Yeah, self-harm kind of hits home with me, really, to be honest. It's really sad, especially when you see it inflicted on somebody else. I think that's worse. Like when you see someone who has hurt themselves and you can physically see it, it really breaks
and
your
you
heart.
can't do anything about it as well. And the only thing you can, because people that are going through that emotion of doing that, there's nothing you can really say to stop them until it's done. It's really sad, but even in that episode, having Ben on there who talks about his personal experiences and having overcome it, and hopefully he won't ever do it again. And that is one of the goals from the episode, is to kind of prevent it happening.
As an outlet, that's the last thing you want to do, people.
Yeah.
Self-harm, it's not the way out. And I know when Ben had a different kind of, looking back now, a different reason for self-harming that I did. So I think Ben's reason, sorry Ben, I'm probably might say the wrong thing here, but I think his reason was he felt a bit bad about saying something to someone and punishing
the aftermath of realizing that maybe he's overthinking what he said.
Yeah, and then my reason was because I felt numb and I wanted to feel something.
And that's just two of many reasons people do things like this. And it's really sad that and self-harming isn't just getting a knife and getting some scissors and getting a scalpel to your wrist or wherever, your body part. It's also drug abuse. It's also alcohol abuse. It's also not looking after yourself, overeating, not eating. There's so many forms of self-harm. And if you see anyone around you that is facing any of these symptoms, please reach out to them.
Yeah, and if you do spot something, take that as a warning sign. You don't know what the next the next step of what their self-harm could do to them. It could potentially end their life.
Just be a bit more compassionate and sensitive. And I always preach these words: compassionate and sensitive. They're the two things that will help you get through supporting people that are going through any of these issues that we've spoken about.
Yeah, very true. Moving on to the next one, mate, is grief. So we looked at the 5 stages of grief and loss. So denial, isolation, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, all of which can be experienced in any particular order. And the kind of the intensity of each one of those stages can differ from person to person. So I think you made an interesting point during this episode, Naf, that there's no real right way to or wrong way to deal with grief.
And again, it's something that you say all the time. It's about face value. Like, if someone is not crying after a death and you feel like they should be, don't feel like that. Like, everybody has different stages of dealing with grief. Some people might cry within the first day, but some people, it might take them about a month to process what's happened. People have so many different outlets. Some people will go to a hobby that they do, like drawing or designing or whatever it is, and use that as a form of therapy instead of crying or instead of being angry. There's so many different things, and just don't judge people based on how you see them, because inside they could be crying so much.
And I think that's a really lovely point, mate. And I think also we discussed the fear of death. So
thanatophobia or something,
Mike Tyson, this bit. Thanatopia is a topic, and we never really think that's talked about enough. And at some point you will fear dying, and that's only natural. And I think we listed in the episode in meditation, talking to people and having a purpose in life is really important, to make you kind of look death in the face and say, I'm not scared.
And we'd be lying to say that no one is ever going to say I'm looking forward to dying, kind of thing. So it's inevitable. That's what I'm trying to say. And everybody, as sad as it sounds, everybody has an end date. And people are dying around the world, and it's just overcoming it and making sure that you stick to a routine, and that person that's close to you that's passed away and whatever, they would never want you to be unhappy. So live your life as if they were still there.
Brilliant point, mate. I think we'll end it on that one. Let's go to the next one there.
Social media.
We kind of did touch on this a bit earlier with the whole dopamine response of going on platforms.
I think this one is quite detrimental. Obviously, we always talk about waking up and making sure you do something a bit more organic rather than going onto your phone and checking your socials. Even like the simple thing of first thing you do, don't go on your phone, just open your curtains, turn the light on, or do this, or make your breakfast, then go on your phone. Just having that little gap so that you get your mind actually woken up from natural things rather than your phone.
And there's numerous studies as well that kind of correlate the social media between mental health. So although they can be kind of fantastic for exchange of information, and I'd be out of a job if there wasn't social media, and there's a quite strong argument that you would be as well, Naf. To an extent, if social media wasn't about. But there's issues such as like anxiety, isolation, self-esteem, false connections, sleep, and desensitization that are really of great concern that needs to be considered if you're going to be going on applications.
It's just about limiting yourself and knowing and having self-control, really. Like, I know how that loop of watching one TikTok for like 2 minutes turns into an hour of sitting on TikToks, and do you know what I mean? Like, and that kind of realization of not knowing what you're doing is scary. It's scary that there's such a big, the social media is a massive hole that just draws you in.
It is as well, and I didn't use this analogy in that podcast, but if you think about it this way, if what? Let me see if you can picture this. So 1 hour of social media time is worth one drink, right? But 5 hours of social media time could equal 5 or 6 drinks. So if you look about it in that aspect, so comparing the addiction to being an alcoholic, would you have 6 or 7 drinks in one day? No. Then why would you spend 7 hours on social media in one day?
It's a waste of time. There's obviously, if you're doing it for your job or whatever, or you're actually reading articles online or whatever it is, and you're gaining information and knowledge, then yeah, so be it. That's fine, absolutely fine. Spend all your day on your phone then. But the fact that you could be so much more productive if you just left your phone to the side. Pick up a book.
Yeah. I mean, like, what? Yeah, that's true. So like, when you actually on social media, it's hard to kind of say this to yourself, but it's like, how is it benefiting you when you're on it? Like,
does this really matter?
Yeah.
Like I'm reading that Jasmine from Florida has tweeted saying that I've just tripped over the stairs. What difference is that going to make to your life?
Nothing.
It's not a productive use of your time. And there's so many other things like you could be doing. Like, say, for example, you have a to-do list, and instead of going through that to-do list, you've spent 3 hours on Twitter. You're screwed, really. You've just set yourself back 3 hours. Yeah,
and if you've got deadlines or anything, stay away from it.
It's just a massive loophole. That not loophole. What's that whole thing called?
I don't know, mate.
Rabbit hole. Yeah, that's it. It's a massive rabbit hole, and you just find yourself getting sucked in like a vortex.
Yeah, that's true. Overthinking.
This is quite self-explanatory. I think in this one we just talked about ways that pretty much realizing that if you can't change something, don't spend longer than 5 seconds thinking about it. And if something that's not going to affect you in 5 hours, don't spend longer than 5 seconds thinking about it.
Yeah, that's true. And you gave me a really good illustration of us, like what overthinking's like. So if you fill a balloon with too much air, it'll eventually pop. So your thoughts being represented as the air, and the physical material of the balloon itself being your head. Would you overfill a balloon until it pops? No. So why would you do that? And it's just
self-care, really, as well. And no matter what happens, when this audio is released, for example, I'm using this as an analogy, and say I've done the edit a bit wrong, and then I spend the next 2 weeks worrying about it. What benefit am I doing to myself? There's nothing I can change about it, so just get on with it.
Yeah, just do it. Use Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. Just do it.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true.
So yeah, that's overthinking. And obviously there's so many that it's okay to process things, it's okay to think about what you're doing, but just don't spend too long on it, and don't let your mind ponder.
Yeah, the majority of the thoughts that you have are kind of the dead wood. Do they?
I love that analogy.
Yeah, 90% of the ones you have are kind of useless. So don't. And in practice meditation, you know, if you can, I think I would try to explain what it's like when I do meditation. You're sort of watching yourself think. So in essence, you know, are you your thoughts?
And it's just finding that kind of level ground for yourself where if you are overthinking, just distract yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's overthinking. Yeah. Next one was, I loved this one, environment.
Yeah. So this was talking about how do I say? So your surroundings, buildings, and the environment, how it can affect your senses, moods, emotions, and behaviour. So this is quite a unique one, really. If you're into, you know, workspace or kind of living at home, like I find with me, being in an environment which is clean, the colours, you know, everything is bright and vibrant. It's really important. And I think you made a good point as well with having like plants in your room.
I think it's just having them little elements of lifting the room out a bit. And I know that aesthetically I prefer neutral colours, pastel colours. Really, that's my kind of go-to for an aesthetic for a room. But like having a feature wall, for example, which is a bit more vibrant, it can just lift your mood, because as soon as you walk in, instead of seeing boring beige and like a caramel tan, like whatever colour, and it can be a bit boring and demotivate you a little without you even realising.
Yeah.
But having that little bit of a pink or bright blue or whatever it is can just heighten your mood, I think.
Yeah, and especially if you're working at home now, put a little bit of effort into making your room more vibrant. Tidy it as a start. Maybe have a poster up, or maybe just something. Have some neon lights, whatever takes your fancy. Just make it a place you'd actually want to stay.
Yeah,
in.
exactly, and that's your little pad. Like that's where you're spending your comfort time. So if you're not comfortable there looking around, then what are you really doing?
Yeah, man.
So just considering your environment. Like I think we also talked about being around in suburban areas and rural areas and how that can affect you. And
we did.
Yeah. So just generally, like if you find yourself kind of depressed where there's nobody around, maybe go to a busy area, try and lift your mood a little like that. Go for a walk where people are there, and just having that sense of feeling that people are around you but not actually with you.
Yeah, and also change your environment. That's really important from time to time. I know if I'm stuck in a rut in my room or in an office where I don't really, there's nothing which is visually aesthetic or like beneficial, then just change your environment, move your seat, maybe go, if you're working upstairs in your room or in your office, try one day in the kitchen. It can really help.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's just changing your perspective on things as well, isn't it? Like instead of seeing that blank white wall that you always see 5 days a week at work, changing to the kitchen, looking outside the window for a little bit, or checking out the garden or whatever. That can just inspire you to, every hour I'm just going to take a 5-minute stroll in the garden and just stand outside.
Yeah, and that's really helpful.
Yeah. Next one was about seasonal depression.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
That's it. This one was very relevant, obviously, to the times we're in now, and obviously time's going to change now as well. The hour's going to go. Is it back or is it forward?
Oh God, you're going to test. I feel stupid
now as well. It's going to go back, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. When do the clocks go? Wait, why can't I think straight?
Oh my God,
You stupid.
Sunday 25th of October.
Yeah, so not long then.
Oh shit, that's a week. So yeah, no, and that's going to be quite daunting as well, because it's going to get darker sooner, and that really affects your mood. And I know personally, amongst everything that we've talking about trying to stay positive, these months are where I feel the worst.
Yeah, winter is always. I hate winter. So apart from Christmas, I hate.
And
winter.
even that's not going to be the same this year. But I think it's just finding a level ground of trying to keep positive, and just I think we also mentioned, and you mentioned these little lights. What are they called? The
oh God,
Lumi.
Yeah, no, that's
Lumi?
it. That's it. Yeah, your Lumi. So you just put it in your room, and then it gradually exposes you to light. It can really help boost your day.
So that's just one little thing. Yeah, so having like natural light just inflicting on you in your room and stuff can just help you, and can make you feel like there's sunshine around.
So yeah, put it in this perspective. So when light hits the back of your eye, messages go to the part of the brain that that controls sleep, appetite, sex drive, temperature, mood, and activity. If there isn't enough light, the functions can slow down or gradually stop.
Yeah.
So that in should tell you that you probably should invest in something like that.
It just keeps you alive as well, and just keeps you in high spirits as well, because obviously being dark and being in, well, obviously black is quite a depressing colour, as it's quite the connotation with it, but which is why a bright light can just go such a long way.
Yeah. And what other things did we talk about in this episode? So there's obviously sunlight. Talking peer support, talk therapy, and keeping a diary of your mood can kind of be a huge benefit. Especially during the winter months. Eat and sleep well, have a routine.
I think you also mentioned going for a walk really early and waking yourself up, because obviously you can be in that hole of not wanting to get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when the lights are off and you're in the bed, I just feel awful in the winter when I'm in bed and it's it's all dark and miserable. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
But anyway, get your hands on one of the clocks and maybe speak to people. And I'm starting to think that medication might even help me during winter, to be honest, like SSRIs. I'm starting to think that might help.
Yeah, I mean, if that's something that make sure that obviously your doctor's prescribed it or agreed on it or you've read up on it yourself. But yeah, if that's something that can help, then potentially look into doing that.
Yeah, I think and take your vitamins and have a good. I mean, this is kind of nutrition again, but just take your vitamins.
That is very important because you're not exposed to enough sunlight. Your vitamin D is going to be low. Look into multivitamins. Maybe just take one a day, just so you can get yourself a bit more fueled. That's a really good point, Sam. Actually.
Yeah, brilliant. Next one, so the last one.
My mum laughed at this one because before she even heard it, she was like, "Oh, so what's this going to be about? Have you been slating me?" I was like, "No, mum."
No, not at all.
But yeah, no, that was a good one, I think.
Yeah, and I kind of put a black and white statement on raising a kid. So I think I
saw Dom's response to that.
What did
you not see on the Instagram?
What did he say?
My God. So he responded to it saying, let me just show you. So when we put that out and your description was about, let me just show you. Oh, maybe he's deleted it. Oh, no, wrong one. Okay. So you put, according to CPAG, the cost of raising a child, excluding housing, childcare, and council tax from birth to 18 is now $75,436 for a couple family, $102,627 for a single parent guardian, and blah blah blah. You went into a little description. Dom replied saying, "Nearly 80,000. I best win a lottery soon, like." Bless him, obviously, because he's got a kid on the way, innit? So you've just scared him off.
Yeah, oh God, I'm sorry, Dom.
I thought you'd seen that, but yeah, no, he was like nearly 80,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was trying to look at it on like a balance sheet sort of thing. A kid is a liability. It's amazing, but like you got to bring it in at the right time. And I think Dom will be fine.
Yeah, no, Dom seems, even from the 2-3 times I've spoken to him, he seems like a lively guy. He's in high spirits. I think he'll be absolutely fine. And luckily, they've got a good father like you, Sam, who can be a good guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you're in a positive mental state before you decide having a family. And is it the right stage alongside financial situation?
Yeah.
Like, are you in the right mind to have a kid? Because you don't want if you're heavily depressed or if you're stressed at work, do you really need to bring a child into life for that?
Make sure you're stable first. And on the flip side, if you even if you see your parents are acting out a little, they're being a bit more moodier with you, they could be going through something themselves, like personally, and they just don't want to talk about it because they're the parent, they're the person that should be talking to you. Maybe just checking on your parents, make sure they're okay, because they might not even realise they're going through it.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point, mate, on the flip side of things. So you could look at this from your parents' perspective. So if they're upset as well, you can see that, it doesn't cost, it costs like a fortune to raise you.
Yeah.
be a bit more appreciative.
And obviously as well, it's not just kids. It's not just, there's not like a cap on an age that people feel depressed. You could be 80 and feel depressed. You could be 90 and feel depressed. You could be 5 and feel depressed.
Just because they're your parent doesn't mean that they can't feel raw human emotion like you.
Exactly. And in all honesty, they've been through it all. Whatever you've been through, they've been through as well, and on top of their own things. So just a bit more compassion towards your parents. Maybe just check in on them as well.
Yeah, make sure you have a strong enough relationship with your spouse. I can't remember what the cost of divorce is, right? I mean, this sounds incredibly morbid and like down depressing, but going through, you and me both know, mate, the whole process of divorce it isn't just 1 year. It's like years and years of hard.
No, and
the amount costs and legal fees for divorce, and like, you know, the separation of assets, who owns what, who gets to see, you know, if you get to see the child at all, that's so destructive.
Yeah, it is, and that can affect your mind state. And not only for the kids, that's also that each of them partners, whatever the situation, they're both going through it. There's a massive change in lifestyle that will be occurring, and it's just make sure that you are happy and content with who you're with until you have a child, because once you bring that child into the life, it's not just you've got to worry about.
Yeah, don't be immature about that decision. Just make sure it's the right one. I guess there's no time frame you can kind of put on it, but because you'll know. Be aware of bringing a child into this world with the right person, and don't necessarily have a checklist, but just be aware.
That's all you can say, really. And when you know
yeah.
So that's a roundup of all 19 episodes we've done so far. And you know what, when you mentioned let's do a roundup of it, I thought, maybe it won't take that long, but this is quite a long one. But we've discussed so many different things.
Yeah, man, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. I don't want to bore the listeners, but this is episode 20, and I am still in disbelief that we've got this far. I've had quite a few people still saying that they're so happy that we've been so consistent and they're proud of us and stuff, and it goes such a long way, little comments like that, and I really hope that this continues to excel.
Yeah, it will do, mate. And what we need to do is, I think you were discussing this with me prior to the podcast, we want to do like a video, another video. I've got a fantastic idea that we could probably do if you want to come over, bearing in mind that I'm working. But I'll just tell the listeners anyway, because we will do this eventually, even if it is over Zoom or FaceTime. We do a video. Why don't we try Wim Hof breathing technique together?
Yes, and do it in person, and just show them the process of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we'll do like a little review of it, and I want to show you guys that it bloody works. I don't really want to do it now, probably because I'll choke to death.
Maybe get your lungs in order first.
Yeah, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm very happy to do that. We'll arrange. I know we say this on every episode that we need to see each other soon, but obviously with Corona and everything going on and stuff, it's just a bit difficult at the moment. But we'll sort something soon, and we'll have a video for you guys soon as well. And if there's anything you guys want to tell us about, or things we need to change, or things we want us to discuss, please get in touch. I mean, our socials are Just Mates Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. YouTube, we're at Just Mates Podcast if you're listening on YouTube. Spotify, we're also Just Mates Podcast. Just get in touch, like and subscribe, share the shit out of our thing, please.
Yeah, and who's that horse? Who's that horse?
Whose horse is that? Whose horse is that? That's jokes, but thanks again for all your guys' support. And Sam, honestly, I really appreciate that we get to do this, and I'm not going to take it for granted the fact that we have the resources and the ability and the skills to actually put out some content like this.
Yeah, it's a blessing, mate. And I don't want to sound like a talk show host, but thanks for doing this with me. And yeah, thanks for your time on this. It's been, this has been my guiding light through lockdown and through this whole year, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely, and we will continue to do this for the listeners and even for ourselves first and foremost.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so this has been episode 20 of the Just Mates podcast. I have been Nafis.
I have been Samuel.
And we will see you later. Bye.